Welcome back in, everybody, to a Tuesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, John McMullen. Give us follows on X and the social platforms at Zander Krause and at JF McMullen. Appreciate everybody for being here today. We've had great crowds all through the offseason. So, again, thank you all. All super chats will go to the top. We appreciate it. Hit that like button for us. Let's try and get to at least 100 to 150 likes here on the live show. We appreciate that. Great opening segment on Lane Johnson, Johnny Mac. John, another guy I want to talk about today is Jordan Davis. All right, I think there's a lot of questions around this player. Obviously, he was taken up in that first round a few years ago. He's now going into year 4. They picked up the 5th-year option. We're all wondering whether a long-term contract or a longer-term contract will come. I got plenty of questions on this player, but I'll start with this, John. How does Jordan Davis fit into what Vic Fangio wants to do up front in 2025, and do you expect his role to change at all?
Not much. I think he'll get more playing time simply because they lost a very good player in Milton Williams, and that's a lot of snaps you have to make up for. And it's, you're not just giving them Moro Ojomo. It's going to be sort of take a village approach. So he'll get a few more chances to play in situations where it can maybe impact the game more from a 4-man front than a 5-man front. And, more of a chance to be a pseudo pass rusher than just a run defender. So I think whatever he played last year was like 440 or something snaps. I think that'll go up hopefully to 600 or so. I think would be the wheelhouse you want to be at. And if that happens, maybe people will start understanding him a little bit better as a player and realize his impact as a player. But again, I've said it pretty consistently, and again, it's similar to the discussion. It's like, I think people have to step back and think, like, what do you want on 3rd and 13? Like, why would you want Jordan Davis on the field on 3rd and 13? Like, it makes no sense to me. Like, maybe he's out there, but that's not your working. That's because Moro Ojomo has failed. Is that what you want? Because obviously you're going to have Jalen.
I think if Moro Ojomo fails, Ty Robinson is a good spot, a good chance to slot in there.
Well, and yeah, we'll have to wait. Ty's an interesting, and I asked about Ty. Ty's like, first of all, people are impressed by him because when you see him, he's just, he looks like the Incredible Hulk.
Right.
So he stands out from a physical perspective, and he also tested really well. And again, it's just a spring and they don't have pads on. I think he's the type of player that's going to stand out when he's got pads on. But he doesn't, his athleticism doesn't translate on the field. So I have to see that. From what I've seen, he's just a big hulking physical guy. And he needs to translate his athletic ability to the field more to be a pass rusher. That's my early take on it. But I wouldn't expect splashiness from him early on. I think he's going to be more of a, it took Milt a long time to get to where he eventually ended up. So I think you're going to have incremental steps with Ty Robinson. But to get back to the original point of Jordan Davis, yeah, I don't even know why. I think if people looked at it that way, they'd stop having the discussion. 3rd and 13. Why do you want him on the field? I've asked the people in the chat. Why do you want him on?
Well, I think because there's the attachment of, I know, and I've tried to move on from this, but it is the 13th overall pick. I mean, shoot, we talked about pedigree a little bit last segment with the offensive lineman.
Yeah.
I think that goes into it. But even if you try and move on from that, I think everybody's trying to envision a world where you keep him on the football team, and $18 million, if that's what it's going to take to get it done, or $20 million, I think that's where it comes in. And people are like, I don't know if this player is worth that. I mean, And John, I don't know, add some context to these. I'm looking at Jordan Davis's PFF grades for the 2024 regular season. Overall grade, he was 65.9, pass rush grade 65, and run defense grade was 57.6. He was 79th out of 219 qualifying defensive tackles. Like, it doesn't even really sound like he's that good
I don't
against the run.
Can I ask where you got those? Because I'm looking at them. Because
All right, well, give me it. I got it from a source here, pulspff.com.
He was 20th of the interior edge rushers last year. 20th in the NFL. He was 20th.
Why is it? I'm on pffs.com. It says right here, overall grade 65.9, 49th out of 219.
Yeah, I don't know where you're looking. Go to
Premium. I'm in the premium stat.
Go to player grades, go to by position, interior defender.
All right, we'll give the grades for him for the people, because I do think, I mean, I don't know. I think the conversation is still worthy of having. Like, how good is he against the run? And then, you know, is there more for him, and is that worth $18 million? I think that's where the conversation comes in.
Well, the discussion on whether he's worth $18 million. I mean, that's a more legitimate discussion, because generally you want a 3-down player, and he hasn't been a 3-down player. He's been a 2-down run stuffer. So as an organization, you have to sort of define, you know, how important it is to you. Unfortunately, with the Eagles, again, it's a little bit easier for a team that doesn't have so many good players. See, the Eagles have the difficult decision of, you know, having to draw that demarcation line, I always say, and lose some good players. They did it this offseason with Josh Sweat and Milton Williams, and CJ Gardner-Johnson. These are all good players that, you know, take CJ aside, where there's some other things that add to the debate. But these are good players, and even Isaiah Rodgers and on down the list of guys they lost, they would have liked them all back, but you can't pay everybody when you have that many good players. But he's a very good, you know, run stuffer by his job definition. And, you know, is he the best pass rusher? Is he ever going to be the best pass rusher? Probably not. But again, there's a lot of things, like Dallas Goedert had a poor season blocking last year. If you just look at the raw number, if you're doing PFF, if you're just looking, but that doesn't take into context that there's like 5 tight ends that can block now, and he's still one of the best, you know. But it's all, is he, you know, like Lane Johnson when you're trying to run block or pet? No. But against other tight ends, he's still one of the best. And there aren't a lot of run defenders. We talk about the way the NFL, and that's what the Eagles and Baltimore to a lesser degree were able to take advantage of. Well, everybody's putting these light bodies, not only on the defensive front, but at linebacker and even in the secondary. And I thought it was always going to be New England. It turned out it was Baltimore and the Eagles, who woke up one day and said, you know what, we're just going to bully the F out of these guys. So there aren't a lot of really good nose tackles anymore. At least from the traditional sort of measuring stick of, you know, I call it the Pat Williams measuring stick because I covered him. It's just you couldn't move the guy. Haloti Ngata in his prime. You couldn't move him. There aren't a lot of those guys.
So you don't really want him to, you don't really look at that player and have a desire for him to develop into more than what he is, technically, it sounds like.
Oh, you always want to get better.
No, get better, but you don't have a desire
my
for him
point
to be
is, I hear everyone say that, but they don't think about what that means. And what that
what
means.
do the Eagles think? Like Howie Roseman's going to sign the contract. What does Howie want, do you think, from Jordan Davis? Is he good with what you're saying? Just be a great run stuffer? Or is it like hey, if I'm going to pay you the
if-
extension on top of the fifth-year option, I got to see more.
No, he's under the demarcation line. But he's under the demarcation line because they have too many good players. Like if he were on a lesser team, you could pay him 18 million and say, yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
player.
they got a lot of guys to pay.
That's an impactful part of the team. But you always strive to get better. I'm by no means am I saying he can't get better. And he showed last season he got in better shape, and all the talk about the Peloton, and he was playing better as a pass rusher, and he got a couple good pass rushes in the postseason that everybody saw and everybody gets excited by. But again, that's what I'm trying to say. Forget about Howie. Forget about what Howie thinks. Forget about what I think. Why do you want him to be a 3-down player? If you understand that means Moro Ojomo's not on the field. Last year, that would mean even more emphasis. That would mean Milton Williams is not on the field.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be a good thing if Jordan Davis was good enough? Because he's not good enough, yeah, you want those guys on the field. But hypothetically, don't you want to have the tackle that can take those snaps and be effective with them?
But what in what world are there 6'6", 340-pound guys that can rush like Milton Williams? Like one of the thing that makes Jalen Carter so unique, he's about 320. And he's probably getting lighter. He's probably 310 now. But the combination of speed, the combination of strength and athleticism is just rare. You never see it in the size, at his size. You just never see it. But what 340-pound guy is supposed to rush the passer like, and I don't even want to go to, the Aaron Donalds of the world, but that's why I use Milton Williams. He's just really good. Like what in the world does that make sense at any level? At the same thing, it works on the other side. It's like, would you expect Milton Williams at 290 pounds to tie up two interior offensive linemen at 330? Fuck no. Well, you shouldn't. Javon Hargrave, perfect example of that when he was here. Really good pass rusher. When they had to play him at nose tackle his first year here, it wasn't good. I mean, it works both ways. But like, I don't want Moro Ojomo trying to tie up interior freaking offensive linemen.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I mean, what you're saying, it's not that it doesn't make sense. It makes complete sense. But I think that, I think that complicates the business part of this conversation with football, which we all often get into, obviously, because that's what we cover. What do you think the Eagles value what you just said at?
I think he'll get paid too much money. I think he'll price himself out. But that's because of the Eagles. He won't price himself out of the NFL. That's part of the problem. There will be NFL teams willing to pay him because they don't have as many good players as the Eagles, and they can fit him in at that number. It already happened this year. The Eagles can't fit Josh Sweat in at the number he got from Arizona, but Arizona could.
Yeah, it's true.
New England and their crappiness right now can't, the Eagles can't fit Milton Williams in at that number, but
I got a bad feeling about what's going to happen to Milton Williams' career after leaving the Eagles.
Well, I think he's going to be a good player, but to your point, he's not going to live up to that contract. So, he'll probably be cut in 2 years, but I think he'll remain a good player, if that makes sense. But he's not going to live up to that contract. Happens all the time in free agents.
John, back to Jordan Davis. We hear about the athletic traits a lot with the guy, and they are pretty impressive. What's the biggest football skill you would say he needs to refine, work on, improve to get better at what he does right now?
Well, it's all pass rush. I mean, he's not a great pass rusher from a technique and a footwork, handwork. It's not a great pass rusher.
So he doesn't have upside like some of the other nose tackles in the league that are Vita Vea and Dexter Lawrence type guys. No, right? Not even close.
Well, I think there's like one Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah, but when you take a nose tackle at 13 overall, the hope is that he does have that upside. Do you agree?
Well, again, the pedigree comes into it. I mean, I wouldn't.
Well, yeah, that's because nose tackles aren't picked in the top 13, John.
Well, yeah, that's the reason they typically aren't. So, the Eagles probably made a mistake taking him that high, if you want to look at it from that standpoint. There's one guy, and he's on a bad football team, Dexter Lawrence, who's, I don't know what Dexter is, probably 340-ish. And he's a good pass rusher. And he's just a good all-around player. But I mean, everybody else is at that size is limited from a pass rushing standpoint. Literally everybody else, including Vita. Now Vita gets a bigger push. Vita is what you want from a pure nose tackle, just a guy who can push the pocket. And it's clear, like, Vita's like really strong. Like back in the Linval Joseph, who was here, but Linval in his prime with the Giants and the Vikings, that dude, he was regarded as the strongest player in the NFL, and he would just push the pocket. So could he, get to that level? I don't know. I mean, some of that's just natural. Like, I don't think, going in the weight room's a big part of it. Don't get me wrong, but there's certain guys that are just immensely naturally strong.
Yeah.
Justin Smith was, for people that remember him, just in a league full of strong guys. And I always used to say this about Jason Kelsey, who would say that about Linval when he was with the Giants. It's like, when a bunch of strong guys are in all of your strength, that tells you something. And is he ever going to get that? That's not going to happen because part of it's just natural. But he can get stronger. He can get better pass rush technique. So there's always room for improvement. But he's a really good player in his role, and a really important player, because the Eagles can't find a damn backup, and they've been looking for years. It ain't easy to find 340-pound guys who can move.
No, it's not.
So he's really important, and you're going to miss him if he is gone. But probably not until he is gone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But probably not until he is gone.
What do you think the ceiling is for the player?
Get his current level of play up to 650 snaps. I think that's pretty much the ceiling. I mean, he's a good player. He's like,
yeah, no, I don't think he's a bad player. I'm just trying to gauge on where they are with, obviously the upcoming contracts that are coming on the defense and everything. I mean, I think they're, just like we talked about every player basically this offseason. I mean, CJ Gardner-Johnson, we could have had this conversation after the season ended. Yeah, he was great. Oh, yeah, he'll be back. Oh, gone. I'm just trying to gauge. I'm not saying
that's
I'm
another,
just gauging where are they going to go with this player? What's going to happen with Jordan Davis?
And he's a leader. He's the leader of that room.
Yeah, we say that often.
He's a great dude. He's, a good person. Everybody likes him. So from that standpoint, you have no worries about, high maintenance personalities or anything like that. But so that helps. But I think they just have too many. It's going to be very difficult to keep certain players. Like Dallas Goedert is a tremendous player, and I've been talking about him for years. And they just can't afford to pay him anymore. And they got one more year done, and that'll be it. It happens when you're this talented, and it's already happened. It's going to continue to happen. Everybody wants Carter under contract. Everybody presumably wants Nolan under contract and Quignon and Cooper. Well, if they continue to play at the level they're playing at, that means certain guys got to go. And I think Jordan Davis is going to be in that category.
Yeah, tough conversation for it, but I do think that's the reality. We'll see what ends up happening this year. I mean, do you view this year for him as a prove-it year, or is it not really that?
No, I don't. I mean, he's already proven himself. The only thing he's got to do, prove it wise, is prove he can play with conditioning, play more snaps with conditioning. And hopefully the Peloton talk is not just lip service, and because we seem to talk about this every offseason with Jordan. And he acknowledges it.
Vic kind of said the same thing, though.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't he get asked why his conditioning wasn't ready till week 8 or whatever it was, or something like that?
Yeah. He dodged that question.
Yeah, he did. He dodged that. I think is right.
But I mean, I'm talking from Jordan's perspective. We have this discussion with him every offseason, and he verbalizes what he has to do, and hasn't done it until the end of last season, evidently, with the Peloton. So he knows he's got to do it. But in this year, it matters more because, you know, I'm pretty high on Moro Ojomo, but I'm not high to the level of, oh, well, you can just give all the Milton snaps to Moro Ojomo. I mean, Moro already played more snaps than Jordan last year. It's close, but he played a little bit more. So you're just going to topple all Milton Williams snaps on top of what Moro was already playing? Then he's playing Jalen Carter level snaps. So it's got to be split between Moro and Jordan Davis and even Ty Robinson some. It's got to be, 3 guys picking up the slack. So he's got to play more, and he should play more. And if he doesn't play more, that's probably a bad sign.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. We'll see if Jordan Davis is here to stay in Philly. He's a great player. I love the guy as a player. You can clearly see the impact he has on the teammates and on the locker room, Johnny Mac. I'll never forget the day I met Jordan Davis, John. We were at the Maxwell Awards right before he got drafted. It was literally right before he got drafted by the Eagles. And I'm doing the awards because we were working that event. JAKIB was producing that event. And I walk in the back room, and Jordan Davis is there with his mother. And I'm like, Jordan Davis, we need you in Philly. And I was just blown away by the size of the dude. He is a massive dude.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget that. And I hope he has a big year. And I do like the player, but I think it is a complicated situation with him on the defense. We'll take a super chat here from Jason 18. We'll get to our next commercial break. And then we got top position groups. And I want to talk a little NFC East with Johnny Mac. We'll take a couple comments from the chat as well. Jason 18, $10. Jason, thank you, brother. Big support of the channel here in June. We appreciate that very much. He says, I remember in the Saints game this past year, Jordan Davis' first sack on Carr, everyone felt like a proud dad moment at the time. He's better than we think. I was so hyped for him that game. Upside is def there.
People are so obsessed with sacks, man. Listen to that. I'm not picking on Jade, but I mean, it's like I'm a proud dad when he gets a sack. How about when he ties up 2 players so Zach Bond could make a play? Nobody's a proud dad.
You remember the Zach Bond quote?
Yeah, Zach talks about it.
Bond made a quote about Jordan Davis and said, his stats might not show up on your stat sheet, but if you want to know how he's doing, look at how I'm doing, or something along those lines.
Exactly. But nobody's a proud dad with that, except,
Well, I'll be a proud dad.
Trust me. If Jordan Davis wasn't there, Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean, who had great seasons, both of them had great. Obviously, people know Zach, but Nakobe had a great season, and even Oren Burks when he came in. You're going to miss him when he's gone. You probably won't even know why, but you're going to miss him when he's gone because if there's somebody up there who can't tie up those guys and can't let Zach Bond run free and can't let Jahad Campbell, when he gets back, run free, and can't let Nakobe Dean or Trot or whomever it is, they're not going to look as good. But people like the sacks, man.
Well, isn't it more broken though? That it's like not just fans, like players get paid on sacks. Like Josh is right. Players get paid
Well,
on
not
sacks.
so, not yeah, certainly edge rusher. Not the defensive tackles. There's an understanding that they're not going to get huge numbers. Now,
Yeah,
occasionally,
but players overall in the NFL get paid on production, not on team wins. That's what they get paid on.
yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, there is a little bit of a difference between defensive tackle and edge rusher. Like edge rushers, yeah, but they get paid purely on sacks but who's the guy, man? He's still getting paid. Every year he goes to a different team, and he's not good. Man, I'm blanking. I'm getting old.
What position?
Edge rusher. He had one good season, and he went to a bunch of different teams. God, I'll think of it in a second. But I mean, it's just Jason Babin's the best example locally.
Is it Clowney?
No. Clowney.
I thought he was pretty good.
Anyway, I'll figure it out. But
now I'm curious.
Yeah, it's driving me crazy. I'm showing my age.
I'm real curious.
Anyway, this is going to bother me.
But I'll figure it out. None of them seem like they'd be the guy. We'll come up with it.
Yeah, he's got to be. Let me look at the free agent list. I think he's still playing. But yeah, but you just heard it. I mean, proud papa. It's like, well, why? Well, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get, and even the difference between defensive tackle. Like people compare under 3 technique guys with nose tackles. It's like it's a different position, but labeling is a big problem with the NFL. It really is. I say it all the time. How many people really know that that's completely different responsibilities? But you see on the roster, DT. Some people use nose tackle, but it's crazy. It's labeling is a big problem with the NFL for a number of reasons, not only on the field but off the field from a contract standpoint and all that kind of stuff.
All sorts of. I agree with you. Here's some of the guesses from the people: Leonard Floyd, Bryce Hufflepuggis.
Think he most recently Baltimore. Then Minnesota traded for him, then traded him in the same year. God damn, I can't remember. I'm losing it, man. I can't. He just not a good football player. Maybe isn't. Looking.
I'll take a commercial break, John. You'll find it in the break, and we'll get back and we'll discuss. We'll get the name here on Birds 365 of who it was, if we can find it. Good stuff there. Great segment on Jordan Davis. Jordan, we got high hopes, all of us. I think he's a great player, but I want to see him really steal it, man. I really want to see him earn it and steal that job. Not that he hasn't earned it, but I want to see him be a no question type of guy where we extend him, because I do think, John, he is a big part of that leadership on the defensive side. And look, life after Brandon Graham, no Darius Slay. We need some leaders. We got a young defense, man. So we need some leaders. So hopefully Jordan Davis can do that. Let's get to our commercial break. Appreciate all of you guys for being here this morning. Hit that like button. What are we up to on the likes? 73. Come on, man. Let's get to 100 likes before we get back from the commercial break. I appreciate each and every one of you for listening. Drop your comments in the chat down below. We'll be right back in 3 minutes on Birds 365.